Hey everybody, it's Travis speaking. Today I want to take a look at the CopyMonitor process with you and show you some of the tools that we can use to start a project when we're working with another team. So I've got a project file open here. There's nothing in it yet. You can see there's not a whole lot of levels or views set up. And so what we can do is, if there's already a design intent file or an architectural model available, we can bring that in and glean some of that information out using this CopyMonitor tool. Okay, so if we click on this, you'll see that it says either use current project or select link. We're going to take a look at the linked model workflow here. So I'm going to click on insert and click on this link Revit button. And this is going to bring up my dialog box to go find another Revit file which I've got saved on the cloud here. So we'll give that a sec to open up. And you can see I've got some files in here in our implementation folder. I'm going to go ahead and find the architectural template. Okay, and I'm just going to leave the positioning as auto origin to origin. I'll hit open and it'll bring this file in. This might take a second or two. Okay, so we get this message here that says nested links invisible. Following nested links will not appear because their reference type is set to overlay in the link red cage template yada yada. And that's these two right here. So I've already linked in the structural file into the architectural file, and then we've got this warehouse Revit file as well that has a bunch of important data for us that we use over and over again. So I'm just going to say close to that. That's fine. And you can see now that we've got this model inside of our model, and if we take a look around, we can kind of get a feeling as to what this building looks like. But something to bear in mind, if you're working with Revit structure for the first time or in the structural templates, you might notice some things don't show up, and that might be because of the discipline, especially if you're in like a structural plan or one of these ones, the analytical model. You're going to see some very different things here than what you might be used to. So I'm just going to go back to my 3D view here, and just to show you the difference, if I change the discipline from architectural to structural, we see some of those objects have now disappeared from this link right off the bat. I'm going to just go back and change that to architectural because I want to see everything of this link from this 3D view. And then I'll use this to kind of check back on my work periodically. So what I'm going to do here is first go to an elevation view. And when we go to the elevation view, you can see that there are some levels that I've already got in here that I've removed for the time being. So I'm going to hide this link for the time being. I'll select the link itself. And just hit HH to take that out. And all these levels, essentially, these can just go. I'm just going to grab these, and these are in the project already, but I want to show you how I created these, so I'm going to get rid of them for the time being. Okay, so now, oops, there was one level that I did want to have. We'll let it go and see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to go back and reset my temporary hide isolate, and you can see that now I've got no views other than these elevations and the 3D views that are created in here. So with that, I'll use the CopyMonitor process to take care of that for the time being. So I'm going to select my link from the collaborate tools here. So CopyMonitor, and I'm going to select the link. And then you can see that my ribbon has changed a little bit, and I've got the tools for CopyMonitor. So I'm going to go into the options here first and just get my levels set up here. So you can see over here these levels just say level 1 up to level 11 or something to that effect. And you can see that there's a table that defines the original type, Okay, and then the new type that I would use in this project if I copy these over. So this is just for levels. Again, you can copy grids, columns, walls, and floors. So for now, I'm going to go to levels and leave this alone for the time being. If I did have some other families in this project, I could use those. But what I'd like to address is this one right here. So when I duplicate my views, or I copy these elements out of this other linked project, I might want to create my views from a slightly different elevation here. So if you know, level 3 in the linked project is at 33 feet, then I might want to see it 5 inches down, and that's where my, say, top of steel level starts. So I can put that offset in here. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to make the offset level be -8 inches, just so we can see this happen. And then you can see there's reuse levels with the same name. We're going to keep that checked, so even if we don't have any suffix or prefix in here, we'll still use these. And then reuse matching levels. We'll make that reuse if element match exactly. And now I want to add the suffix str, just so that I can tell the difference between my structural levels and the levels that come from the architectural file. So we could change those after the fact, just with the style of the level or the family type of that level, but I just want to have that key identifier there. So I'm just going to type in str period, and then make sure I put a space in there because I want to have that in between. So actually I could even put like a hyphen. Okay, so now I'm going to say okay, that I have that all set up, and I'm going to click on copy here and go to click on multiple. I'm going to select all of these levels, and then I'll say finish, and we'll see all these levels here show up, and they're all 8 inches down from the other ones. So you'll also see there's this little icon here, okay, and this, what this does is this defines the fact it just shows you, okay, that this element is being monitored in this file. If we make any changes in the other one, they'll let us know. So I'm going to go ahead and just go back to my CopyMonitor ribbon here and go back to options, and I'm going to select the grids this time, and I'm going to add a suffix to the grid as well, s dash. Okay, so that's going to put an extra letter here, and we'll leave that at that. So copy, choose multiple again, and I'm just going to come over here. There's no offset on these ones, so I just want to say finish, and I'll put that right over top. And then I'm just going to switch to another direction, a perpendicular direction here, and you can see that the levels are duplicated, but there was some other levels, or sorry, grids already in here, so that's fine. I'm going to actually get rid of those because these came from a link that I've already deleted. So let me just get rid of these quick. I'm going to recopy these. Okay. And then again, go back to copy, multiple, and hit finish. So you can see those have come back in. Okay, so now the other thing to consider is these views, you don't see any floor plans for any of these views that have come in here. So I need to create those so that I can kind of get in here and verify whether my CopyMonitor process is complete. I still have to bring in the physical data, but just as far as these levels go, I need to create some floor plan views. So I'm going to go to the View tab now, select Plan Views, and I'm going to create some structural plans here. And you can see that all of the levels that are in here for my project, I can now choose all of these here and say OK, and now I have a full list of plan views that I can go to. So if I go to the top of footing here, I can take a look into this structure that came in from the link and how I'm going to copy that out. Okay, so again, we would go back to the Collaborate tab, choose CopyMonitor again, and select link. And now I can go in here, go to my options, and I'll choose columns. And you can see that there's some other columns in here. We've got some walls that we can replace. So right off the bat, you can see that all the walls that I've used from the architectural have come in here. And then we have options for this. We can say, okay, well, any of the where's the foundation wall here? So it's a 12-inch foundation concrete. So obviously I'm going to want to choose something that's similar, or if you have these walls already in here, you can use those as well. So I might already have that copied in from before, or maybe I just want to replace it with a CMU, a different type of wall. Okay, so I have this one in here, foundation 12-inch concrete, but another one of these great little tools that you have is don't copy this type, or copy original. It's in here, got to be in here somewhere. I've got quite a few walls in here. But it's already in here, I guess, so that's probably why it's not listing it. Sometimes you might see in here it says copy an original, and basically that'll actually bring in that type that the other person you're working with has in their model, and it just replaces it. So you'd go through all of these. I'm just going to leave that at that for the time being, and I know that the only ones that I'm going to select are going to be these foundation walls. Okay, so I'll select multiple here as well. Click on this guy. You can see that there's a monitor element on there, and this one, and we'll say finish. Okay, and so now those are in there. So if I finish this one off, I'm still not done the entire process here, but let's see. If I take the linked file, select this, and again click HH, you can see now I've got those four 12-inch concrete walls, and it's just brought those in for me, and now I can change their type. Right, I could call them any of these other types that I have in here, and or what happens if the architect or the person that did this original design changes this to, say, like an 8-inch foundation. When we reload their new file in, we're going to get a little message. So to show that, I'm going to go ahead and just save this up. So I'm close all my other views, save it locally, and sync that up. So this is a cloud file, so this process is a little bit different than probably what some of you have seen in your collaboration, but collaboration for Revit is a new product that's come out, and I figured why not, let's start using this for some of these video examples. So here's a case in point of what you might or might not see. Like, we have all these non-hosted doors in this floor plan. There's some visibility settings here for the other model. We're not seeing the interior partitions. If they're not structural, then we're not showing. So if you're ever wondering, hey, why aren't these specific walls showing up in my structural file, it's because the structural template has a lot of stuff already kind of tweaked, just to make that workflow go a little bit quicker. So yeah, just bear with me just for a couple seconds. We're doing the sync on this file, and then we'll open up the architectural and show you the rest of this CopyMonitor stuff. Okay, so you can see now we're in a little bit different file here. There's a lot more development going on this one, and we've got it's showing up a little bit differently. Obviously, you can see that we're in an architectural discipline. I've got a different shade mode on here. So this is where the file was initially built that we just looked at. So if I flip this upside down, you can see there are those 4 foundation walls that we moved initially. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab that foundation wall here and just try and move that over a little bit. And that's by no means the way that I would recommend moving walls in your projects. I'm just doing it the lazy way, which is probably why that blue donut is giving me grief. Okay, so it's saying pads can't overlap. Alright, whatever. I'm not too concerned about the pad for now. Might make a difference in the site, but okay. So all I've done is I've just moved that wall. If I go into one of our floor plans here, we should be able to move a grid, which we've copied. So that would be maybe this guy right here. So let's just move that in. We might see some of this, some of these structural components change. So yeah, there's some columns moving out of the way. Okay, so I'm not too concerned about this. I'm going to go back and fix this later. I can see where those columns should be, so that's going to be where that grid has to go. Anyway, it's giving me some errors. That's fine. I'm just going to say detach target for these. And I'm going to go ahead and just save this. So we've made a couple changes to the grid. We could change the level as well, but that's fine. I've made some significant enough changes to this linked file. Okay, so now if I sync that up, the relationship between this structural model and this architectural model is now being updated. So when I open up the structural, we're going to get a message, and it's going to say something like an instance of linked model needs coordination review. We'll see that in a sec. Okay, so I'm just going to open the structural back up. Okay, so there's that message that we were hoping to see. Instance of link needs coordination review. So I'll say OK. It's going to open up the rest of the model. And now we can see some things have happened here. So I've got a grid in here that says ES dash. Right, I kind of goofed up on my suffix there. I guess I should have made that a prefix. But now we can see from the linked model where E is, and so ES is actually not in the right position. Okay, so if I go to CopyMonitor and say select link and just grab that linked file now, okay, the hold on, sorry, not CopyMonitor. We want to go to coordination review and then say select link, and then grabbing that architectural link, we're going to see some of these things that have changed. So if I expand this, the grid, it says that this grid is moved. Okay, so we've got grid D as well as grid E have both moved, and it's saying postpone. So if I go in here and click inside this field where it says action, then I can reject, accept difference, or modify the grid in my project. So I'm going to modify DS and modify ES and say OK. And now we see that the grids that I've created, they use that live link process to reassociate. Okay, so the same thing applies. We're seeing the foundation wall below here, and that has moved as well. So let's just flip over to 3D, and if we flip this upside down, we can see there are monitored elements here, here, right here, and this guy, and then the link elements. So again, if I go back to coordination review and say select link, that'd be this guy, we can see that 3 out of those 4 walls have changed. Okay, and it's telling us that the center lines are different. So again, I can go in and say, well, you know what, I don't know if you guys really want to do this. Maybe this was a mistake, so we could reject it or just do nothing for the time being. Or again, you can accept the difference and modify. Okay, so modify looks a little bit cooler than just do nothing. So let's do that and then hit OK. And then we see our copied and monitored elements move to the right location as to where they were changed to, essentially. Okay, so that's a CopyMonitor in a nutshell. Again, you can do that with other elements as well, like columns, the floors as well. So some things that you'll need to bear in mind are these things, the openings. When you get into the walls that are structural, you're going to want to make sure that you're considering the penetrations. And the other thing is, a lot of structural elements that might get put into that structural BIM they're not included in this list of categories that can be copy monitored. So something to kind of take care of that is maybe in your architectural file, make a work set for, say, slanted columns, trusses, open web steel joists, beams, any of that stuff that's, you know, very important data for the structural engineer, and just put that on a work set, and then the engineer can make a group of those and then bind that in. That way they can use that data and start re-engineering it. And then if it's on your work set, you can shut that work set off. So what I mean by that is, if we go to visibility graphics, you can click on work sets and see that there are some in here already. And then in Revit links, there's also a way to go in and modify the work sets from the architectural. So you can see I have one in here called beams and bracing. And then there's other things too that might be good work sets to create if you're considering this workflow, like structural masonry, site cast concrete, anything steel, foundation. You might want to separate some of these items out. That way you can turn them on or off, or it's easy to make groups that can be used for the structural engineers' use. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up that topic. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I try to get back to you guys as soon as possible. But I don't get a chance to record as often as I'd like. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye now.